This video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Hey guys, Big Paul here. Today we're going to talk about old guy lifting strategies, smart strategies for lifting over 40, 50, PED use, diet when you get older, and how to make it sustainable. I hear from a lot of dudes that I work with that I'm training, and they get very frustrated and upset that they can't make progress like they could when they were younger. They can't do the lifts like they could when they were younger. Your body changes, and you need to adapt, and we're going to talk about that here in just 1 second. All right, so lifting when you get older, I understand the frustration. I have a lot of guys that reach out to me that get very, very frustrated about how they can't do the things they could when they were younger. The progress is stymied. They try to lift the way they did when they were younger, doing, big three lifting and, lifting like a power builder, and they just keep getting hurt and having all kinds of problems. So here's the thing. You have to re-engineer how you lift, how you eat, your PED approach, everything when you get older. It's a blow to the ego. Trust me, I know. It really, you get your identity wrapped up in a certain way of training and a certain way of living, and it gets harder when you get older to have to throw that in the trash. But if you're hurt, and if you're sick, you can't make progress. And I think that's an important thing that we forget about when it comes to lifting, is that we have to be able to maintain our health, that's physical, joint health, connective tissue health, and also, our organ health, and just not being sick. And that's how you make progress when you get older. You have to be more nuanced with things. So you can't get wrapped up in the things that you could do when you were younger. So one of the big mistakes I see guys make is they still try to bench, squat, and deadlift heavy like they did when they were 25. And it's just a bad idea when you're, especially me. I'm almost 50 years old. I think it was a year and a half ago, I was doing benches, and I think I tore my pec just a little bit. I caught it quickly, and I racked it, got off from doing heavy bench presses. And if I'd torn my pec, I would have been out of the gym 6 months, 8 months. I would not be where I'm at right now. I told myself that day that I'm done with bench pressing, and I went to machines and dumbbells. And I know that's hard on the ego. That's hard to put aside and hard to wrap your head around. But if you can't lift, you can't make progress. Same thing with squats, deadlifts. I see so many people get hurt, especially guys when they get older. And I hear guys talking about how older bodybuilders can't maintain leg size. And I don't know that they can't maintain leg size. I think what ends up happening is they try to squat heavy like they could when they were younger, and they just can't because of joint and connective tissue issues and back pain and things like that they can't stimulate enough load actually on their legs to be of any benefit from doing squats. You have such a huge, wear and tear on your joints that you can't effectively train them correctly. So, people ask me, well, why can't I train heavy? Why can't I do the stuff that I could when I was 25? How do I fix this? The analogy I like to say is, would you go out and play a tackle backyard football game like you did when you were 25? Would you go out and play a rugby game like you did when you were 25, when you're 45 or 50 years old? No, you wouldn't. Why? So why do you think you can lift like you could when you were 25 and do heavy, strenuous, dangerous compound lifts that are putting a lot of stress on the body, and expect not to have a poor outcome? You wouldn't even dare thinking about playing a tackle football game when you're 50 years old. Just would be a really bad idea. So this, doing these types of power building and stuff like this is just a bad idea when you're 50, I think. It's the same thing with It's the same thing with the PED use too. You know, you can't run all the nasty orals and tren you around and shit like that when you're in your 40s and 50s. It's going to cause problems. It's like, you know, another analogy I like to make is when you're 22, you can go out and drink a bottle of tequila and get up and function and go to work the next day. I could. You know, I might feel like shit, but you know, and I might even be able to play that backyard tackle football game after work. But if I did that now, if I had drank a bottle of tequila now, I'd be in the goddamn hospital the next day. And there is no way in hell I'm playing a tackle football game. I couldn't even dream about playing a tackle football game. So why do you think you can take D-ball, Anadrol, and go to the gym and lift heavy compound lifts like deadlifts, squats, bench, and not have a poor outcome? I'm just saying it's, you know, you got to be careful. So when you're choosing, you got to prioritize your connective and joint health when selecting exercises as you get older. You have to it's just the only way you're going to have a sustainable way to lift. I don't train to failure anymore either. You know, that whole nonsense of you must go to failure or beyond to progress is just not true. Especially as you get older. You know, I'm not saying that you have to train like a complete wimp. I mean, you need to push yourself. But I choose exercises wisely. I tell my clients to choose your exercises wisely and pick things that get you the biggest bang for the buck. You're going to get the most stimulus without the least amount of stress on your connective tissue and joints, and lowest risk of muscle tears, and with a favorable stimulus to fatigue ratio, and an ability to recover and be ready to go for the next workout. Those are my things that I look at when I'm picking an exercise. So, you know, you think about it, something like a deadlift. You know, deadlifts are just horrific for your joints as you get older. Your back. A lot of older guys have back issues. And if you have back issues, blown out discs, things like that, doing deadlifts is probably not smart. And plus the amount of fatigue that deadlifts generate, you know it from doing them in a workout. If you do a heavy set of deadlifts, you're fucking toast after that. You're not going to be doing anything else. So I pick exercises that are going to give me the biggest cost or biggest benefit for cost. So rather than doing deadlifts for back and risking injury and fatiguing myself so much that I can't really do anything else in my workout effectively, and maybe not being able to recover before my next workout, I pick things that focus the load on the actual muscle that I'm trying to stimulate and allow me to recover and reduce my risk. I might be a machine row, it might be a dumbbell row, whatever. You know, the risk to reward ratio is much more favorable. And if you can't train, you can't progress. That's something that people forget all the time. If you're sick, you can't progress. The smart PED use, I know I touched on it a little bit, but just being smarter about your PED use. Take things that are safer. You can even run doses a little higher if you're taking things like Primabol on a test. You know, I'm not saying run out and do it, but be smart. Stick with the safer compounds. Manage your health when it comes to it. Make sure you're keeping track of your cardiovascular health, that you're keeping track of your kidney health, that you're managing your lipids, that your lipids are in check. These are things that are going to catch up with you when you're older. You can get away with when you're younger. People talking about the whole Cali muscle thing. I did a video on him having his massive heart attack, which was essentially from eating like shit for years, eating McDonald's and fast food. That doesn't hurt you when you're 25. It hurts you when you're 45. It's the same thing with this stuff. You know, you don't see people eating like shit when they get older and not having problems. You don't see people playing tackle football until they're 50 years old or in their 50s and not have major problems. You wouldn't even dream about it. So you have to approach your lifting with the same type of tact and thoughtfulness. Lift smart. Pick things that are lower risk, higher reward. Keep yourself in the gym. Keep yourself recovered. Keep yourself healthy. If you're going to use PEDs, maybe just stick with TRT or hormone replacement therapy, or if you're going to push compounds, push the safer compounds. Make sure you're managing your health, managing your blood pressure, managing your lipids, things like that. That's how you sustain progress into your 40s and 50s. I've done it. And I do roll the dice and take some chances sometimes. I certainly am probably more aggressive than I should be. I'll own up to that. But I try to be somewhat smart about it. I try to stick with safe stuff. I try to manage my health. I try to stay away from lifts that can potentially injure me. It doesn't eliminate all risk, but it does reduce the risk. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching my video. Thank you for paying attention to my rant about old guy lifting. I hope some of you find it helpful. If you have questions or comments or you disagree with me, put them in the comments section below. Thank you very much. For coaching or consultations, head over to www.anabolicbodybuilding.com to book your spot today. I can help you with optimizing hormones, fat loss, muscle gain, physique, athletic performance, nutrition, and health. For more information, shoot me an email at bigp3rd@gmail.com.